Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nine Bob Note. I'm Paul.
And I'm Ken.
And guess what, Ken?
We're back.
We're back, and it's our 100th episode spectacular.
Launch the fireworks. Woo, yeah.
Who'd have thought?
Well, certainly not me. No. I thought we'd have been cancelled and fired long before now for our outrageous, unpolitically correct views. But no, we've got away with it.
We've got away with it. So let's celebrate.
You are very much in the driving seat. What is episode 100 all the hell about?
We are going to go back in time and give ourselves some advice to our 15-year-old selves.
Oh my God. Right, okay. Kick us off.
My first one is going to be listen to your mother.
You're saying this?
Yes. My mum always said that I should go into something like being a doctor. Mm. And it was obviously something because she knows that doctors traditionally do quite well. It's a good job, with good standing. But I pushed away from it. So as soon as we got to choose subjects to do A-levels, I immediately said, I'm not doing anything sciencey, to immediately cut off that sense. And I actually think that if I'd have listened to her and gone into it, rather than just sort of flailing around for a few years, just doing whatever came my way, I think I probably would have done quite well as a doctor or, some other profession like that. So if I'd have just listened when she said that rather than immediately rebelling because she said that's what she wanted me to do, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Just listen to her because she's got your best interests at heart, young Paul.
Oh. Well, I've got a very soft spot for Mags. I've known her almost as long as you have.
Well, yeah.
And she gave me some very sage advice, and she is the person who gave me my very first gin and tonic. So I owe her a lot. Yes. Oh, lovely. Well, my first choice is don't go to university. It's along the same lines. We were the last tranche of pupils or students that went to university and got it all paid for.
Yes.
And we got a grant on top of that. Boys and girls, where do you think that went? At £1 a pint at the student union. But I went to uni and came out knowing less than I went in because I was very much, and still am, of course, into media production and media. That was very much what I wanted to do. Even at high school, that was my chosen path. I was the first person in the country to make documentaries for his GCSEs, swat that I was. And I did media studies at college with you.
Yes.
Which was equally useful. Jacques Hughes, whatever that was on Channel 4. And then I did media technology at university. And I was during a peculiar hybrid phase when it was not quite the end of analog, but not quite the start of digital. So to give you an example of the level of equipment, we couldn't make videos that were longer than 8 minutes. Yes, exactly. So university just didn't teach me anything, and my lecturer wasn't very good either. He basically just wanted to piss about with the students. So I came out without any debt, but all the time I'd been studying, if I'd have just gone in as a runner at Granada, I would have worked my way up to be, if not a producer, but I'd be somewhere higher up with an actual job. And in Manchester...
You might have bumped into Philip Schofield.
Or Diamond Lil, yes. The possibilities are literally two. So yes, that's my first choice. And I would also extend that to anyone, particularly anyone now. If you don't know what you're going to do at uni, don't go. You're going to come out with a mortgage before you've even started in life.
Yes. Yeah. I got a lot out of being at university, but I did.
Oh, yeah.
But the actual degree I did, I don't even know what it was about. So yeah, I agree with that. If you are going to go to university, go to do something that you want to do.
Doctor or lawyer, go to uni.
Yeah.
Anything else, you can probably wing it.
Yeah.
What's your second choice?
My second choice, it probably follows on quite nicely from yours. I would say to 15-year-old Paul, when you have finished university, you're going to be tempted to move away and go to Manchester. Don't.
I never thought I'd hear you say that. Right. Explain yourself, sir.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was good, and it was it helped me to be more of who I am. It brought a lot out of me. But I moved away. I got into what was a horrendous relationship, which took a long...
Oh, he was a sweetheart.
But I was taken away. I lost contact with most of my friends. I lost contact with a lot of my family. And fortunately, most of my friends and family were, really nice ones who sort of said, when that was all over, yeah, of course we'll take you back, which was really nice. But it could have easily gone the other way. And I do feel that those 10 years or so that I was messing around in Manchester could have been better spent. I could have got a decent job and actually started doing stuff. I could have got a house, but I also would have spent time with the people who, as it turns out, were the ones who I should have been spending time with all along, instead of going off and finding new people. So definitely good for a night out, Manchester. Life choice, possibly not.
In your defence, though, I do seem to remember saying to you at a funeral, the phone works both ways. Mm. And it wasn't picked up very often from this end either. So, but no, I'm surprised. I mean, I know you had a great time in Manchester, but I didn't know you felt that way. Oh, well, you're home now, and that's the main thing.
It's good to be home.
Well, my second choice is something that my 15-year-old self would ignore completely, but I'd still say it to him. I'm not going to name and shame, but there are certain relationships. Just don't. I've had a very varied career somehow, given the material I've got to work with. But yeah, there are 2 or 3 relationships I really shouldn't have let get out of hand the way they did. One of them led to a marriage, for God's sake. I suppose the flip side of that coin is they've made me who I am and made me appreciate what I've got now. But the fun that came with them is heavily outweighed by the long-term scarring that it left behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. There's a difference between regretting something and if you were going to go back and do it all over again, would you do that? And I think that's one of the things, isn't it? There are things that you have done which you don't necessarily regret and which have made you who you are now. But if you had the chance to go back and be 15 again, you maybe just have a quick word with yourself and just sort of say, this does seem like a good idea now, but believe me.
I think there's one particular part of your anatomy that doesn't drive your head in your younger years, that it tails off a little bit when you get older. But I think I might revise that to don't think that you can fix people. I've made the mistake of having several relationships where I've thought I can fix this, or I can make your life better, or this is my sort of role in life to not save people, but you know what I mean? Sort of this can be all put right. And it's taken me a long time to learn, or it took me a long time to learn. Not everybody even wants to be saved. Yeah. They're quite happy with the life that they've got. And you end up tying yourself in complete knots, trying to solve problems that just don't want to be solved. So yeah, I'd probably say that.
Very wise, very wise. Our 15-year-old selves will thank us profusely.
He'd have been making wanker signs behind my back as I walked off.
Stupid old man. My final piece of advice, and sort of tying in with the theme of the podcast. Paul, you are gay, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of sort of figuring out and thinking there's something different. And, you know, we've been through the story several times about, did I think I was being called to become a priest, etc. But it would have made things a lot easier. And I think if it was today, then it would be a lot easier and a lot better for me to be able to say, yeah, do you know what, I am. So, yeah, don't spend the next few years messing around and pretending that you want to be a priest or that you like girls, because it's not true. So have a bit of fun while you're young.
I wish I'd have known you didn't like girls. when one of your girlfriends in particular tried it on with me at a Halloween party, and you were actually actively encouraging it, and I didn't know. Anyway. Oh, lovely. Well, my final piece of advice to my younger self is tell more people to fuck off. Incredibly, one of my failings over the years has been putting up with behaviour that is dreadful from people, excusing it or defending it or tolerating it, or there's a reason they are that way. No. There is no excuse whatsoever for being an arsehole to people just for the fun of it, or just because, or not having any regard for God, your fellow man. Is that? But there's no excuse for it. And there's been people, some of them very, very close to me, who've treated me abominably, and I've just let it go. Don't do that. Edit them out.
Yes.
You'll feel a lot better. And again, another lesson it took me far too long to realise. The very worst thing that I can do in an act of revenge is just to drop out of somebody's life completely. No warning, just go. And you'll find that they need you far more than you need them. It's a horrible bit of advice, but I think it would have saved me a lot of tears over the years and a lot of ill feeling if I'd have just abandoned situations earlier.
Yeah, and then it frees up more time to focus on. Maybe we could just give our 15-year-old selves a list of people to avoid. Avoid these situations, avoid these places, avoid these people.
Yeah, that's yeah, excellent.
Yeah, so there we go. That's 3 pieces of advice each to our 15-year-old selves, who will immediately ignore it, throw it away, and go and do whatever the hell they want anyway, because they're young and they know better.
Of course they do. And look how that turned out. We've turned out okay.
Exactly. No scars or anything. I thought that as it's our 100th episode, we would end by picking what is your favourite episode of Nine Bob Note to date. Because obviously they're only going to get better as time goes on.
This is a really tough one. I am not a monogamous podcaster. I see other podcasts behind Paul's back.
This is true.
But I do find myself re-listening to NBN quite a bit. And there's several ones, I'm just looking through the list here. There's several ones that I've come back to again and again. The elections one, which is one of our earliest ones, I quite like that one. There was one we did on bad dates. That was quite fun. And there was one we did a little later called Being Alone.
Yes.
But I think bizarrely, purely because it was such a serious topic, but we ended up having a whale of a time on it, is episode 50, Islamophobia.
Oh.
And it ended up being sort of an examination of ourselves and the wider world and really why people think the way they do. But it was just a really light-hearted, fun chat on a fairly serious topic. And the other ones, of course, were Room 101 and Small Pleasures, which I thought were, again, they were just lovely chats by the fire with me and you, which are my favourite ones. I love the ones where we're just really shooting the breeze. But yeah, I think I would say Islamophobia, largely because it was such fun.
Oh, yeah. I do like those episodes where it just goes off on a tangent and we just end up talking about daft stuff, no matter how serious the source material was. I have to give a special mention because it always makes me laugh. It's the episode entitled John Barrowman's Penis. And obviously we had guests, Simon and Alan were along for that one. And we were all really drunk.
Which ends the way that it always do. And me and Simon end up arguing and Alan is just pissed in a corner, interjecting pithily.
Yeah.
Alan Fogg. We've done podcasts with him for one of my podcasts, The Externals Experiment. He's a very quietly unassuming man, but he comes out. He comes out with stuff and he's got the most wonderfully infectious laugh. Oh, God bless them both.
Yeah, so that gets an honourable mention. I also like any of the episodes where we talk about Doctor Who.
Oh, yes.
That really is just the two of us just talking about what we like and don't like about Doctor Who. And who cares who's listening. But the one that I did pick out as a favourite, just because it was quite different from the other ones that we've done, and just because of the timing of it, was the one when Queen Elizabeth passed away. Obviously, the tone was quite low at the time, but also there was quite a lot of laughs in there as well, and it was just nice. Again, we acknowledged that not everyone agrees with us, but we also acknowledge that we don't care what anybody else thinks. So yeah, I think that one would be my favourite, just because I like to think that the Queen is up there somewhere, listening to that one on repeat, thinking, oh, yes, some people did like me.
My loyal subjects. Oh, that was nice. We've done a few sort of royal-themed episodes now. We've done one on Prince Philip and Q and Platty Jubes and the coronation.
Yeah.
And for all that we're evidently royalists and obviously doffing our caps, bowing and scraping all the time to these superior beings, actually, from a social aspect, it reminds me of all the little things that we did at the time, such as the day trip to Polton and, well, I remember bits of it. But yes, I can listen to any episode and it just dredges up a load of memories. I love doing NBN. We've had, for various reasons this year, we've had a lengthy recording break, but it's very, very nice to be back in the studio for our 100th. Ooh. And long may it carry on.
Long may it continue. So we're about to go away and start our 2nd century. So thank you, dear listener, for joining us, and hopefully you'll be back for episode 101 very shortly. Ta-ta.
Bye.